Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville. This is Hawk Talk with Jensen. Presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Oak Knoll, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 59 years. Also brought to you by Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Bud Light, proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Also brought to you by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist, made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by your local Ford dealers. Here's Rob Brooks.
And welcome to our first show of 2026. Got to get used to saying that. Hope everybody enjoyed the holiday season, and it's all about basketball going forward as our Hawkeyes are on a nice 3-game winning streak, 13-2 overall, 4-0 in the Big Ten. And we'll discuss wins over Nebraska and Northwestern. Certainly look ahead to a big road game at Bloomington, Indiana to take on the Hoosiers on Sunday. And boy, it feels like we ought to be going to the Big Ten tournament when you're outside walking in here.
I know. That's
feels like
nice,
March,
isn't it? I love it.
But we're nowhere near that, are we?
No, we got a few games to play. A little improving to do before there too.
And there's time, and that's the good news. But boy, first off, you're going back to that Northwestern game, and some of them are here. Just all the Hawkeye fans that showed up. You always expect it, and we've seen some full houses over there, but boy, when you hear that "Let's Go Hawk" chant there in the second half, that just really motivating on the road in the Big Ten.
It is never. I'm not usually a loss for words, but certainly am a little bit regarding that. I had an interesting story. A good friend of ours, who's a friend from Cedar Rapids, their son plays football at Iowa. We're down there for the bowl. And then they stayed over because Libby Fandel, who's a great player from Xavier, she committed to Kansas. So Kansas was playing, I think, Central Florida. And they went to the game to support her family, friends. and they took a picture of the crowd, right, which was such a really lean crowd. And she was just commenting and remarking about how amazing that, our crowd is. And, that's one thing I think, being a young person in this state, growing up in this state, having the sport I did in high school, and then navigating what it was like in college in the early days, and really, fighting for crowds and fans and trying to get a great fan base. And boy, Iowa has so long supported the University of Iowa. Vivian Stringer, when, she sold that thing out for the record. Mm-hmm. And these fans, so many of them, really, there's a core group that have been there that long. So many that have been here certainly since I've been here 26 years ago. But to see that at Northwestern, and, I think that was I was so happy we got the win, that we grinded it out. I know we're going to critique that, and I'm certainly, everybody has every which way. But I was thankful, because sometimes you have to do that. But the thing I get disappointed about is I never want to disappoint the crowd. I want them to have so many more moments to go, let's go Hawks, and do all the cheering. But the people that were there, I got a lot of responses that they still love being there. And there's nothing like an Iowa fan base. And look at this place. I can't thank you guys enough for continuing to support us on this radio show. It's fun to walk in here every night.
Well, and that also, you run into the sold-out crowds at the Carver Hawkeye. Mm-hmm. Not everybody can necessarily get there. And you got a great fan base in Chicago, gives them the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And somebody that maybe can't get to Carver,
absolutely,
hit the road.
It is. I just feel like just so blessed, and it's so fun to share it with everybody. And that's one thing we've always felt as we built this years ago, and it continue to try to hold the standard, is it's so fun to do it together. It's so fun to, have that crowd. You guys were so great against Nebraska, and when the crowd swells, and we just need that extra little umph, and then it's fun to celebrate together, but it's also on the tough times to stick together. And I just think our fan base does that better than anybody in the country.
Well, you talk about that Northwestern game too, and you really know what to expect. And there's been really good games throughout the years between Lisa and you, Joe McEwen. And the fact that they'll bring it. They play hard.
Always bring it.
Good defensively. And there's that rivalry there that I don't know how it was kind of born, but it's there. And the fact that you got off to a good start, and I felt Ava was maybe going to have 40 or 45 that night.
I think she was on pace if she didn't have to play in the defensive end. If she was playing 6-on-6, and she doesn't even know about 6-on-6.
Then she would have had 80.
Yeah, she sure would have. Joe is just, if you know his record and how many wins he has, right? I think he's right now the third all-time winningest coach currently active. And he just is always a good game planner. And there's just certain teams that you always have a close game with. And last year, I think we won by 5. Jack, right. He pointed that out for me.
85-80, yeah.
And I think we might have lost there with Caitlin a few years ago. I think Jack thought it was maybe her either freshman or junior year.
Freshman year, I think, right.
But it's you just, some teams match up with you a little better. And I do think that our fan base adds extra motivation. I think when all those people, which I love, keep on coming, but it's a younger team too coming in. And we had a lot of, Chat wasn't feeling great, had some foul trouble. We'll talk about Kylie still being out. But I think that Northwestern does that gives them a little extra oomph with that. And, it just is, it is what it is. I'm just thankful that we got the W. Certainly much to critique, I'll tell you that.
But a tight game. Lead changes 8. Game was tied 9 times, but you still led for 26 minutes and 39 seconds. So always seemed to be pretty much in command, even though Northwestern would cut that lead and then you'd get a big bucket. But I thought that was an important thing, especially in the fourth quarter. Got some key baskets. Journey Houston had a huge three-point play. Addie Deal made a nice move to the basket, and that defense stood up. You made Northwestern work for everything coming down the stretch when really you thought maybe they needed to score a little quicker in the shot clock.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Basketball, a lot of us keep track of kills. Kills are 3 stops in a row, right? You get 3 stops, and if you put you can score and you get 3 stops, and you score, you put this little mini run together. We didn't get as many kills against Northwestern, but, man, they scored a lot at the end of that shot clock. And I think a lot of that was due to the defensive pressure that we were doing. And we won that game because of our defense. Our defense held. Our offense was off the rails. but the defense was solid, and that's what you like to see, and that's what you preach, every coach in the country. Your defense can be there every night. Your defense can be there. You might be a little off on your shots. You might be, the rims, you think they're tight or whatever a mental goes into a kid's head sometimes. But your defense, it has nothing to do with what type of floor it is. It has nothing to do with lighting. It has nothing to do with the tightness of the rims. It just has everything to do if you stick with your principles. And I thought that was a really good byproduct of that victory. Yes, we got the victory, but it was another notch in that realization that the defense will hold.
And you certainly saw that in the fourth quarter, and then making the plays necessary. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another good growth point, too, mm-hmm. for some players that maybe played a few more minutes than mm-hmm. they're used to because mm-hmm. one starter down, illness going on, have to be ready to step up, and they have shown they can do all year.
Yeah, and I think when you can get a game like that, I think when you can grind out a game where it is just hard, and everything was just hard about that game. I can't explain it. I don't know if I had them as prepared as we should have been from the get-go, but then I think we started pretty good. Ava looked like she was going to go on a tear. We held some stops, and then all of a sudden it just went haywire, right? But I think when you can get a game like that, and when you're a team that's older than you're younger than you're older, especially now with Kylie out, you're starting 3 sophomores, and you're having to really do things the hard way, and you're really in your mind, you're constantly battling. You can just see it when they came to the bench, their frustration and their tension. And then the pressure, because, they know what everybody thought they should be doing. But I think as a coaching staff, you can get their attention, and maybe the fan bases, is that every game is hard. Every road game is especially hard. You can look at, I think everybody thought after the men beat UCLA, we're just going to go up to Minnesota and we're just going to win that one too. It's hard. Winning is hard. And as much as everybody, me first in line, and I have my spouse here, she'll tell you, I've talked about that win up to ad nauseum about what I didn't like about it, and she kept saying, you won. That's right. You won. So I'm with everyone, but I also understand that winning is difficult. And sometimes you got to figure out a way to do it, even if it's not your most pretty way. And I think that was the biggest win, is that our players, a lot of the young kids, had to make a play at a certain time. They had to play under duress. We felt the tension. We felt frustration. And it was a perfect storm. We did not shoot well. We did not have our starters. And we had a sickness. And it was this perfect storm to use every excuse in the book to not pull it out. And they didn't. And that was a huge thing to me, and I was really, really proud of them.
And that's the resiliency of this team, mm-hmm. because, and what's that mm-hmm. do to a game plan too? You have basically both centers in foul trouble for the bulk of 40 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing that was difficult, because then Journey is undersized, right? And she knows that, and she was, uncertain about that at the beginning. And I was like, look, you're too good to not have on the floor. You do this and you do that. I promise you, you're gonna be great. So we put her in there. But then when you got all the bigs in foul trouble, she had to get switched off on some of the big ones. The big number 23 for them. 22 has a beautiful turnaround. She's just trying to navigate that, and she did it. Yes. Did she get scored on because she was outside? Yes. Did she score on them? Yes. Did she get 6 boards still? Yes. Did she make everything run? Yes. And those are the things that she gets some confident, like, you know what, I can battle with them. So I just think there were a lot of just unique things that you really don't practice. You do a little bit, but then when you have to see it all come to fruition, I think everybody, answered the call. I told the players, I said, the one thing that you want as a coach is to have, a couple things. You want to have a fortitude, and you want to have a togetherness. You can get talent all you want. You can get, amazing shooters. You can get amazing rebounders. But if they're not going to have the fortitude when the going gets tough, and they're not going to have the grit and the togetherness, you're not going to win some of those. And so that intangible. When I saw that, and I tell you, Hannah Stalkey has been playing really well, and that was such a hard game for her. And like Coach Stamp and I talked, I was so proud of her. She would come to that bench, almost such tears of frustration of just so frustrated. And I know sometimes the finish isn't always there, but that kid's heart and her will, she did every other thing. She led them. She stayed the course. She kept coming back, and she would not let us lose. And I know, I think she took some unnecessary heat, goes, oh, she did it this, she did it that. I don't think that Hannah will ever shoot that poorly again. But I tell you what, the vision, the intensity I saw in her eyes, despite how frustrated she was, it was really cool. And I told her that. I said, the reason, don't worry about what you missed. I said, I want you to really celebrate everything you became. And she became, in that moment, a different type of leader that she wasn't last year. So there were a lot of great things that happened.
Yeah, that's just winning basketball. And you got to grind those out.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen, and it'll probably happen again. But when you put that in the victory
I don't think
column,
I want that to happen again. You have to say that.
You've been around a long time.
It might. You're right. It might happen again.
But as long as it's in that left-hand column, you're in good shape, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe it won't happen again. Huh?
Well, I would like it not to, but I think at least we got some experience when we have to really hunker down on that foxhole.
So you just brought in all those positives.
I did.
Right?
There were a lot. There really were. There were a lot of not positives, and I did address those in practice and the film. But you do have to celebrate when you come through a storm.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to, and you kind of called it winning ugly at the end, and the fact that I always kind of look at that margin of error where you don't have to play perfect every night to win.
Right.
And I think that's a good sign of a good basketball team that doesn't have to be at their best all the time to come away with a victory.
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of been the fun thing about this team is, we've had years and eras where it's definitely been a couple stars always, and then the role players, they'd have a moment. This particular team, sometimes it's Ava, sometimes it's Chit Chat, sometimes it's Hannah, sometimes it's Strimlow, right? And it's a lot of times by committee. Now, to really get to where we want to go, we can't have those inconsistencies which we just saw, right? We have to. If you want to really contend for the title, you want to go deep in March, we have to get to a level of consistency with everything from free throws to three-pointers to two-pointers and continue our defense. But when you're growing and you were early, I wish I had this undefeated record and it was February, 20th right now. But there's a lot of it, right? But I think that's the thing is, I just think we can still get so much better. And I don't know how many times, I look back on the last, few years where you get to this point in the season where I really think if it all starts coming together that we can really have this exponential jump. You always want to be on this nice trajectory. You don't want to be playing your best basketball now, right? It's in that middle to end of February where you really want to hit it, which I think we're on that nice, trajectory. But I really think we're still really trying to figure out understanding our offense and who does what best where. I think that's our next step. Is sometimes we do things, but it's really not the right person at the right time doing it there. I need that. I need you to do that. And you other person, you need to be in the corner waiting for the shot to come your way. So we worked a lot on that today. But I'm really excited where their mindset is, and they do have adopted a pretty good growth mindset, and that's hard. It takes a while because you got a lot of people wanting to play a lot of minutes and so forth. But I think collectively we're doing a pretty good job.
And a big one on Sunday at Indiana. And if you want to jump in the conversation, several ways to do so. As always, on Twitter, we are at Iowa_Learfield, or just use a hashtag HawkTalk. Also, Facebook.com/HSP Learfield. We've got the U.S. Cellular text line at 319-853-8344, 319-853-8344. And you can also email a question to HawkTalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com, as several of you have already done tonight, and we'll jump into those in a little bit. Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen, of course, presented by Oak Knoll. Oaknall's mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City area for 59 years. Oaknall is conveniently located near University of Iowa Healthcare Campus, Kinnick Stadium, of course, Carver Hawkeye, downtown Iowa City. Proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Visit oaknall.com to learn more. Also, as a proud sponsor of the Hawks, U.S. Cellular wants you to make the most of today by choosing game day traditions first. Scroll a little bit later on. U.S. Cellular is built for us. We'll have more Hawk Talk with Coach Jensen, presented by Oaknall. We are live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar from Learfield.
Our mission at Oaknall is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oaknall is located near the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oaknall.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Iowa Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Ben McCullum. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
RE/MAX is the official real estate partner of Iowa Athletics, and we understand there's a number for everything: square footage, down payment, interest rates. But how do you measure the trust you have in your agent? For a RE/MAX agent, it's not about numbers on a contract. It's being a trusted RE/MAX agent. That means you'll get honest advice, expert guidance, and someone who's committed to your success. Because while numbers count, trust is what truly matters. RE/MAX, the official real estate partner of Iowa Athletics. Each office independently owned and operated.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Coach Jensen, presented by Oaknall here at the Watermill Kitchen and Bar. And don't forget, this is a Wednesday show, and we're here mostly on Mondays, and that'll be the case next week. We'll be here Monday, January the 12th, one day after the Hawkeyes take on the Indiana Hoosiers, and what a series that has been over the last several years. Now, that's a 4 o'clock tip. So we'll be on the air with the pregame show at 3:30, and a big sports day, too, because Iowa men will play Illinois inside Carver Hawkeye Arena at 11 o'clock. So a lot of Hawkeye basketball, and there'll be some football during the day as well. So it'll be a terrific sports Sunday for the month of January, as Iowa's one of two teams only undefeated right now in the Big Ten at 4-0. It's early, but it's always good to be 4-0, and to get to 4-0 had to get a huge victory against Nebraska. And you mentioned the crowd, Jan, 86-76, but another situation where, especially in the third and fourth quarters, this team really showed up. And how about knocking those free throws down the stretch? Needed every one of them.
We sure did, and that's the one thing we do have to get those more consistent. And
they were consistent that day.
And we're trying all different tactics. We're working, and the players are getting a lot of extra shots up. But that was really nice to see those go down. And I just thought the Nebraska game was definitely our best game top to bottom yet. I thought we took a lot of great growth steps. I thought we had different kids really stepped up, and they did different things at different times. And so I was really, really pleased. And, that was the game, and that's what it made for me mentally. The Northwestern game was frustrating because I thought we really had kind of gotten rid of some of the things that weren't going so well. But like I said, it was a perfect storm. We just hadn't shot that poorly collectively, and we didn't first time we faced illness. And, we just, we didn't, have our normal people either yet. And eventually that kind of catches up to you when you don't have the people you want to have.
Yeah, and then when you have an illness like that, as many teams around the country are facing and are going to face, it's that time of year, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I still haven't seen Chat since when we played Monday. Yeah, so she's got it pretty bad.
And then you talk about those free throws that were so important against Nebraska. Hannah goes 7 for 7. Chat goes 11 of 12, and both of those players score over 20 points, and then another double-double for Hannah Stalkey. So they were big. And then a little bit overshadowed because of those two was Ava. Again, 8 out of 10 for 18, and I know you don't mind 80%.
Oh, man, do I
know
love
you got a high standard, but you like 80%.
It's so weird. My standard is so high when they don't get to that, percentage, the 66 to 70%. I'm not a real happy camper. But Ava's gotten the message. She also shot what she shoot, 9 for 11 at right. Northwestern.
So you'll take that for the week, right?
I'll take it. But she's got to get the message with those doggone fouls too, right?
And then, of course, you had some nice play off the bench as you're going to continue to get. And you talk about how close this game was. 7 lead changes. Game was tied 10 times. And Nebraska led for 14-15, the Hawks for 20-35. So that was really anybody's game, which you probably knew going in that was going to be a 4-quarter basketball game.
Oh, yeah. I really, I think Nebraska's a really, really good team. I would think Amy Williams would probably say the same thing. We kind of remind me of each other. We play, I think, really hard. We have some really nice pieces. We play pretty sound basketball, and we both have a really nice scorer. And I think Britt Prince is one of the best. She's an elite scorer. We recruited the heck out of her, and they're just hard to guard. And they're always a good, that rivalry, whether it's football, men's basketball, women's basketball, it's at another level. So it was just, I really thought that game, more than anyone we've played, I'm talking, the UConn game, Iowa State, down in Florida, all the things. It was that game I thought was really going to tell us kind of where we were. And I really felt that they rose to the occasion, and certainly that home court advantage was helpful. But I liked what we did. I think we handled some pressure, and, of course, we shot the ball pretty well.
And that's the only 2-play that you're going to have in the Big Ten Conference.
It is.
So you have to head back over to
but it's
Lincoln
nice
later on.
It's nice when you at least get one of them, right? Because that's
went over there last
good
year.
Old days, yeah. And I hope we do that again.
That's right. But first and foremost, the Hoosiers on the minds of the Hawkeyes right now. And we'll certainly talk about Indiana coming up here in a little bit as we head to some questions. Audrey, it was great to meet her. She came down and said hello on Monday at Northwestern, and just was really happy to be there to see the Hawkeyes live. Got a chance to talk to Abby and Randy, and just all the joy that this team brings her and many others. She's just thanking you for that, and I know she had a really, really good time and got to see a Hawkeye victory, but there are many that are in that category.
That. Audrey, thank you so much for coming, and thanks for your kind comment, and I'm so glad that you could attend, and I'm glad you got to see a victory, albeit it wasn't as smooth and as easy and as pretty, but I'm very, very grateful for it, and especially grateful for you being part of that great Hawkeye contingency that was there.
And we've talked about the fourth quarter. Mark from Cedar Rapids, what is it about closing out games that maybe gives you a little bit of comfort on the sideline that, hey, we can get this done and break away, and at least didn't have to really sweat it out there the last couple of minutes?
I was sweaty. You weren't sweaty?
Last two.
Who is this guy? I was a little
thought
sweaty.
You had it in hand.
I did, but I had my jacket on.
I had a lot of confidence in you down the stretch.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get it. I just think we do have some bucket getters. We don't have a lot of people on the team that can really create all the time, especially if I got Chat, who's a little bit, she can, but she was a little feeling under the weather. But I feel like they have a lot of confidence in each other. And we have some kids that do have confidence, regardless of the minutes they play. They know what their mission is and when they need to do it. And I just think that's what is making the season enjoyable. And like I said, it's usually a different player, a different night. But I think it's not just what we did in this game. It's really what this team's been doing since June when we got together and when we're scrimmaging our gray squad. And they're really understanding, what didn't go so well against the gray squad, what we have to learn. And then we got into the season and getting some good wins, right? We had a couple easier wins, but then we had to really handle some adversity against Baylor, right? And our Baylor win, that's looking pretty good now, right? You never know how good those wins are going to look, right? You're ranked and we ranked, but it's so early. It kind of depends on who are we going to become later. And with Baylor just, beating Iowa State, so you start feeling like, yeah, we handled that pretty good, right? And we did that without Chat, right? Mm-hmm. So you get everything is like this little building block. I keep talking to our players about stacking the days, stacking the experiences, and learning and growing. And if you stack it, then when you get in a game like this, you usually don't just win it in this fourth quarter. You won it back in July at one of those practices. You won it in October, and then you really won it when you just had to grind it out. I mean, our Miami one wasn't exactly pretty, right? If you watch that game, we just found a way. They were full court pressing. It was ragtag, and we didn't have Chat, but we found a way. Right? So in their mind, hey, we did this. We got that one. We came back. You play kind of pretty. Everybody gets excited, right? Blah, blah, blah. Then, bam, you hit another wall. So it's like if you can get those victories and if you can get a team to learn with a win, sometimes you learn the best with a loss, right? And that's how a coach has to spin it. But this team has done a pretty doggone good job is learning with those wins. And, I told them, I said, you can never drink the Kool-Aid in your jobs. Like we had a really good win at Nebraska. I said, don't drink the Kool-Aid. We did X, Y, and Z. We didn't do that very well. We did do ABC okay. But then when you go into a Northwestern, it's a brand new slate, right? And I think for the most part, they're grasping that. So I think, yes, that was a great fourth quarter, but you usually have a lot of fourth quarters before you get to the one where it really comes through. How
about the changing defenses? What'd you think of that?
Yeah. This is the best we've done with the changing defenses. I do prefer to go player to player. The zone helped us beat Baylor. I've showed it, sporadically against some others. But usually when we do switch as much as we did, invariably we've had half the people in player and half the people in zone. And then that gets you all excited because someone blows the zone coverage because they're trailing their person player-wise. But this is the first game. No one messed that up. And the things we did do wrong, it was my fault. I did not work us enough with penetration against the zone, and I didn't work us enough where I like to trap it when they get to a certain area. And we just blew those assignments, but that was on me because I didn't remember to rep those as much. But other than that, I thought that was one thing we really do really, really well, and I really commended them on that when we watched film today.
And a lot of times, too, it's difficult to rebound in a zone defense because you got that ball flying all over the place, and they rely on jump shots.
Yeah, and we rebounded. We did make our rebounding goal. We have that. I want to out-rebound the opponents by a certain margin, but we didn't do it by as extensively as I would have liked. But I do think anytime you're in the zone, especially when we're a little smaller, when we had to go with foul trouble, because Ava is just, she can just snatch, right? When they got in foul trouble with Layla, it was, Hannah and Journey, and then you have Taylor Strimlow at that back line. That's pretty small, right? But so I thought that they did a good job of, really battling, and there wasn't too many where I wanted to stop my foot and say, get over here, right? So I think we can be a little bit more aggressive when we hit and hold, but we're getting there.
All right, and we'll certainly get to more questions here if you have one. I know we've got a couple in-house that we'll get to here in just a moment. As throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. Thank you to Iowa's corn farmers who lead the nation in corn and ethanol production, feeding and fueling us all. Go to iowacorn.org to learn how corn grows Iowa. And throughout the season, University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, proud to be the presenting sponsor of Hawkeye women's basketball, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Learn more at uiowaenergycollaborative.com. More Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen. We are presented by Oakdale, live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar from Learfield.
Dives for lunch.
The Juicy Lucy. Essentially, it's a burger, but with cheese on the inside.
James Beard Award winners for dinner.
French technique, but Midwestern ingredients.
It's a little unbecoming to lick the bowl, but...
Plan your next trip at exploreminnesota.com.
Celebrate the legendary Donnie Baker with a night of non-stop laughs at the Donnie Baker Ron Sexton Memorial Tour, coming to Riverside Casino and Golf Resort. On Friday, January 30th, hear fellow Bob and Tom Show comedians Bob Zaney, Greg Hahn, and Kostaki Economopoulos share outrageous stories and never-before-heard moments from the road. Purchase your tickets for this heartfelt and hilarious tribute now at riversidecasinoandresort.com or stop at our gift shop. It's going to be a night of laughs you won't forget.
Hi, I'm Gary Dolphin, and if you want your home to be exceptionally comfortable during these cold Iowa winters and hot, humid summers, you need to turn to Dave Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist. Lennox has been serving Iowa consumers since 1895, when Dave Lennox built his first furnace in Marshalltown, and Lennox is still building its high-efficiency furnaces and air conditioners there today. For the best home comfort system you can buy, it's Lennox and your local Lennox dealer. Lennox and the Hawkeyes. Now there's a winning combination.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listened. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details. Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
In Minnesota, we don't hide from winter. We embrace it. When there's a nip in the air, we take on the trails. For every layer you wear, there's a new experience waiting for you.
It's a little unbecoming to lick the bowl, but...
Plan your next trip at exploreminnesota.com.
It's more Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen on a Wednesday night from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar. Don't forget, next show will be next Monday. Of course, the Hawks in Indiana on Sunday. And don't forget, Valentine's Day is not too far away. And if you want to make plans and treat your special someone to a romantic evening, well, why not right here at the Watermill Kitchen and Bar? You can enjoy an elegant 3-course dinner featuring a choice of prime rib, Atlantic salmon, a cherry kiss salad, and a chocolate-covered strawberry for just $39.99 a person. Each table is welcomed with a glass of champagne along with a long stem rose that kind of sets the tone for a terrific night. Reservations are limited, so visit the website at watermillkitchen.com to reserve your spot. Valentine's Day, about 5 weeks or so away. Go back to questions here. Email is coming in here rapidly, which is great to see. And Todd, Coach, wants to know about, is this a running club or a team that has great post play? You want to start there on the inside and focus more on half-court sets, or a little of both?
Well, I mean, I'll run as long as we can run, but we've run for so many years that when you don't see us run, they've game planned. They're taking away your guards, and they're not crashing. So if you watch the game and you're like, why isn't Iowa running? They're giving up the offensive rebound. We played Iowa State. They throw them all back. A lot of people throw everybody back, so you can't get that really long run-out pass, or you're trying to get your 1 to 5, right? Your point guard looking right over Hannah streaking. They'll take the trail guard and they'll gap it. And so they run her back, and she'll just be waiting at the free throw area. Because usually it doesn't matter if it's Journey or for even Kate Martin. They tried to do that with Caitlin, and they go back and they sit. So you can't, like, if the point guard's coming down the right side at the rail and she can break it down and cross over and get into the rim, if we call it gap defense, if their trail defense isn't there, she can just go right around and score. The reason we could run all the time with Caitlin, she just shoot it from the logo. So if you weren't picking her up, if she just came and she felt it, it didn't matter where that gap defense was. She would launch. So now where you're getting down, if the gap is there, and even as quick as Chad is, they're just saying you're not going to get to the rim to penetrate and pitch. So that's what teams do, and that's fine. But when Chad's ready and attack, she can still beat that gap. So sometimes when you're watching it, you think, oh man, Iowa didn't fast break. Well, it's because they're countering it. So we should block out and get the rebound a little easier when they miss. So I'd like to run. If we can run, I'll run. I'll run fast break all the time and not get into our offense. But what's nice is we have a lot of post options, but we're working on making sure that our guards can also be really good and serviceable, and understanding where they can take their drives and we can come out and screen them, or we can do flares, or just some split screen action. So we're you can't be like that question, Todd. I appreciate it, but I think you usually don't win a championship with plan A or plan B. You usually get way down the alphabet. Sometimes you're at QRST, you know what I mean? So you just got to keep kind of practicing, and whatever they give you, hopefully you have the right counter at the right time.
You've got a lot of good rebounding guards. So what's kind of the art with that?
Mm-hmm. Motor. I mean, just
the want and the go get it.
I mean, I just really believe in motor. I think it's easier to coach motor. It's more fun to coach motor. It's just there's usually not the hard to counter motor, and I do think there's a knack. I think offensive rebounding. If you're a big Bulls fan, way back in the day with Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman was amazing. He just had a knack for it, but he also studied it. If you read up on him, he just watched how Michael Jordan, when he missed, or Scottie Pippen missed, that would be his thing, right? So I think there's a knack. It's innate, but I just think there's a want to. And ain't that life? Most of the time it's just a little want to. Sometimes you got to catch a break, and sometimes we get bad breaks. But if you don't, the people who usually end up catching more good breaks than bad, they have a little bit more oomph. They got a little bit more want to. And the people who usually get aboard, this is a funny story. I digress, folks. I digress.
I want to hear it.
I was talking about, you got to crash. You got to go, Doesn't matter if you think you're going to get it. You got to crash. And I said, it's kind of like kissing frogs. You kiss a frog, and every now and then you'll get your prince. And they all kind of looked at me. And I said, has anybody heard that fairy tale? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, well, let me tell you. So then I went into the fairy tale rhyme. But it is like that. I mean, you crash really, really hard and it goes over your head. You crash really, really hard and the other guy gets it. You crash really, really hard and the person that blocked you out gets it. But the one time it all works, well, it's beautiful. And that's when, you kiss the frog and it turns into the prince right there.
And everybody feels good.
Everybody feels good. And the crowd goes crazy. So you just got to get them conditioned. Go, go, go.
Can you got to see those players that maybe have that, even if you're on the recruiting trail? You see it in high school or you see it in practice sometimes. It's just that ability to be around the ball all the time.
Yeah, I think you get a feel for it in recruiting. You have your favorites that – when the reason you're trying to really get them, right? Most of the high-level players, they just have that ability. But sometimes, I'll take a kid that's got a motor over someone that's ranked higher because they're just going to make you better in the long run, right? And not all the time. Usually the highest ranked have it all. But I think you can pick that up sometimes. Sometimes you get pleasantly surprised, but sometimes you get pleasantly disappointed. It's not. It's
or unpleasantly disappointed.
Yes, right. Unpleasantly. It's not an exact science, for sure.
We did have a couple questions on recruiting here, and you've been on the road. Obviously, what right now is the focus? 2027 high school. I'm sure you're always. Looking all sorts of different directions, but kind of what right this time of year, where's the focus in that aspect?
Well, I made it no secret. I want to be a high school coach. I want to be a high school recruiter. I utilize the portal based on need. I usually don't over-recruit it. I don't, if someone's shopping around and she's a whole lot better than so-and-so, that's not where I desire to be. And, that's my philosophy, and I hope we can continue to be successful. So we have a list of, really a great list of high school kids that we're going after. And, we're, just going on the trail. We have like combo guards because we run a fast break that I can outlet it to Chad or Taylor or Addie or whomever. So you want a little bit of experience. You just got to get a ball handling guard, right? A true point guard is a different thing, but I want all of our guards to have a little bit of ability to handle the ball. So we're just hitting the trail hard with that, but you never know how many you need until the end of the year.
How much time during the season can you spend time on that aspect of it?
Well, last week it was a heck of a week. I flew to Sioux Falls on a Tuesday, and then I flew to Minneapolis on a Wednesday, and thankfully we beat Nebraska on a Thursday. Friday I caught my breath, and then Saturday I got up and took an early morning to Atlanta and saw 6 games, and I came back on the flight. It's just this story. I don't need a medal. It's what, you do as a coach, right? But so I did 3 days last week, and, I try to look at the weeks and when I can really go see the kids that maybe the highest needs or whatever. So it's you go as often as you can and as often as it's wise. But in this role, when I used to be the recruiting coordinator, you kind of protect the head coach when you get into the meat of the season. And we'll start doing that a little bit more. So I try to go out in the fall a little bit more, and then I do sporadic as the season's starting. But then, it's just some kids you got to go when you got to go. Right.
And a couple of the bye weeks throughout the conference season, does that help you maybe?
Yeah, it does.
See some...
This one, it kind of stacked up when I went in last week, is some of those holiday tournaments they played at 4 and they played at 5, which is it's nice. And then sometimes I can choose to be able to take a charter plane, which can be helpful if we have a supporter that will, help us out with that. So that's why I kind of put it last week instead of this week with the timing, and they were good games. Sometimes you're playing, they don't have many good games. They beat everybody by 40, right? But most of the people I'm seeing, I'm just there for them to see my shirt. Right. I don't have to evaluate by this time, right?
You got that figured out, right?
Right.
They can play.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we'll talk about Indiana here after the break, but we remind you to share a taste of Iowa tradition with the Eat Shop's famous cinnamon rolls and handmade pies. They're worth every bite. You can pre-order at theeatshop.com. More Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen, presented by Oaknall, live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar from Learfield.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Despite the unshakable Iowa-Corn-Cy-Hawk rivalry, there is one thing Iowa State and University of Iowa fans can both agree on: getting hyped for Unleaded 88. It's cleaner burning and better for your engine, and it's cheaper than other fuel options, making Unleaded 88 the clear fuel choice. If Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk rivals can agree on it, you know it's worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, grown by Iowa corn farmers.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Iowa Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Ben McCullum. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listened. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details. Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk as we wrap up Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen. Hawkeyes going after victory number 5 in the Big Ten. Won't be easy at Indiana. That is a 4 o'clock tip on Sunday afternoon. The pregame show will start at 3:30, and we'll get into the game plan here as it is presented by Civco, as precision matters most when your loved one is undergoing an invasive procedure. So for over 40 years, Civco has been a trusted provider for image-guided procedures, counted on to deliver outstanding service and superior quality around the world. Civco Medical Solutions, making image-guided procedures safer. And you talk about a little bit of a rivalry. This has been a back and forth showdown with Iowa and Indiana, and is.
I think it goes back to the shot. Don't you think?
I think that is.
The shot.
That's kind of where it all started, right?
Caitlin engaged when we were over
there from the left wing, right?
Yeah, right. There was just a lot of respect, but a lot of chippiness. They were really great because they had their great center, great guards. They had when we were in our era, they had a great Cindy Parrish, who does some stuff with the Big Ten. Just a really great basketball team. So it never lacks drama, that's for sure. And I think in rivalry games, surprisingly, their record, everybody's like, oh, their record, and it isn't great. But that's what happens when the portal happens and graduation happens and injury happens. But it's just like, I would just say, and I'm not trying to undersell or over-deliver, which I've shared with you is a very good philosophy to do, but rivalries will trump records every time. there's just something that you bring out the best in each other. You bring out another level. And so going over there, because they play Nebraska tomorrow night on the road. So I don't know what, if Nebraska continues to roll, that's going to be another challenge. And regardless of what happens when we get to Sunday, there's going to be the rivalry. But there could also be a lot of, emotions of like they're going to, have to, really know what's ahead of them. They got to start putting some wins together if they want to keep climbing. So we're going to have our hands full. That's for doggone sure. And I respect Terry Morin immensely. She's a heck of a coach. And, after we get through this game, I will continue to, wish her well. But.
And their fans show up. That's a tough place to play.
It's a heck of a tough place to play. So it's just going to be a hard one, but it's going to be fun, and that's why you play in the Big Ten.
Shea Chesky is one familiar name anyway that is still there. But you're right, a lot of new faces.
Player. Yeah, it all goes through Shea. Lene Beaumont, she's a player. Out of Kathleen Doyle's old high school, by the way, and she's a heck of a player. Those two are really carrying the brunt of their scoring. They do have a transfer from UCLA they got out of the portal that just was hurt. She's now back. She's a very great athletic post player, so I wouldn't have mind if she would still been on the injured reserve, but she's
just one
back.
More game, right?
Just
or two more games?
Two more games. Well, that would have been too much to ask. But, I think when they start to kind of figure that out or get a break going their way, I think it's, they're going to be, they have the potential to be a lot better than what they're showing. I do know that.
They have some good size underneath, though it's young.
Yes, it's young, and that kid is a sophomore coming from UCLA. So we're going to have to play some defense, and we need to have our offense be much more consistent.
Is it good to have a little time?
Well, it is because Kylie's hurt.
Yeah.
Right. I would love it this week and
get everybody healthy.
And we didn't play so well offensively. I'm using this week to try to get us a little better. Because after this week, boy, we just got a game plan against the others.
We'll see you Saturday.
Sounds great. God bless and go Hawks.
And don't forget to stay tuned. More Hawk Talk with Ben McCullum is next. Cale Combs will be a special guest.
Dives for lunch.
The Juicy Lucy. Essentially, it's a burger, but with cheese on the inside.
James Beard Award winners for dinner.
French technique, but Midwestern ingredients.
It's a little unbecoming to lick the bowl, but...
Plan your next trip at exploreminnesota.com.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The best new cars, Honda, make the best pre-owned cars. Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. Get the best value with Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. Honda backed with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Plus, every certified pre-owned Honda goes through a 182-point inspection and is reconditioned like new by factory-trained technicians with genuine parts. Search your local Honda dealer today.
Time now for the Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield Health Coverage Report. Let's take a look at the numbers. When you enroll in a Wellmark individual or family health plan, you choose from thousands of in-network providers. And you're teaming up with Iowa's #1 health insurance company. We know healthcare in Iowa. Score great coverage from Wellmark. Find the plan that's best for you at wellmark.com/covered. Enrollment ends January 15th.
Hawkeye fans, gear up for game day with Big Grove.
As an official craft brewery of the Iowa Hawkeyes, they bring you the ultimate game-watching experience. Sip on fan favorites like Easy Eddie, Citrus Surfer, and Neighborhood Beer while cheering on the Hawks. Can't make it to the stadium? No worries. Join them at any of their 4 Iowa locations in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and Solon. Big Grove Brewery, your official watch party headquarters of the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks!
In Minnesota, we don't hide from winter. We embrace it. When there's a nip in the air, we take on the trails. For every layer you wear, there's a new experience waiting for you.
It's a little unbecoming to lick the bowl, but...
Plan your next trip at exploreminnesota.com.
Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville, this has been Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen, presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Oak Knoll, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 59 years. Also brought to you by Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Bud Light, proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist. Made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by your local Ford dealers. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.